Head to my development patch notes rundown for 11.0. This patch does seem pretty good on the surface, so let's have a quick look. We're going to start with the agent updates because these general updates aren't really that important. Like, this is kind of nice, but it's not really that important. So, agent updates, Waylay. I'm not going to read all this, so pause if you want to read that. Refract is faster and smoother, reducing total travel time. Minimum time in refract decreased from 0.5 seconds to 0.35 seconds. Maximum time in refract decreased from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Unequipped time decreased from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. And refract delay after reactivation decreased from 0.1 seconds to 0.05 seconds. Generally, I don't think these changes matter that much. Like, this can matter sometimes, like these two changes here can matter sometimes. I don't think this one really matters that much, because it's very unlikely that you want to come out of refract and then instantly fight. So I don't think this really matters. And I don't think it would do much to save you if someone is camping your refract. And refract delay, reactivation, this is probably the biggest one, because basically what it is, it's the time between you pressing the button and you going invincible. So I think that this is actually quite a big change. I actually don't think that there's another fighting ability or like get out of like jail free card type ability like chamber TP, jet dash, Reyna dismiss. I actually don't think any of those are as fast as refract now. So I think that this one is the fastest one. So it might actually be like feel the most responsive for when you're actually fighting people. Light speed, unequipped delaying has decreased. So basically gone down by 25%. Pretty damn good actually. Maybe Waylay is actually going to be a lot more viable than Jet in more pro play situations, but we'll see. Saturate, wind up before explosion decreased by like 0.15 seconds, and size increased from 10 meters to 12 meters. I'll be honest, that ability is still bad. Reyna, Lear is tankier than many of our other comparable shootable objects and can feel especially so when it's unclear if you are unsuccessfully shooting Lear after wrist is formed. So they basically just made it 2 bullets. So this is the 2 bullet breakpoint with the Vandal. Instead of like instead of being 3 bullets now, with the Vandal it's 2. That's actually quite a big change because realistically, one of the main reasons why you would play Lear in more destructed situations is because she would make other shootable utility better. Because what she would do, she would basically say, you need to shoot my Lear before you can shoot the recon drone. Or sorry, before you can shoot the recon dart, or you can shoot my Al drone, or you can shoot the Gecko stuff. Like, that's what Lear was doing, right? As like one of the main reasons why you would want to pick Reyna is because it would just make those utilities better. And obviously it's got a bit worse at doing that. Don't think it's really that impactful, but it's a bit annoying for Reyna, especially because I think Reyna's not in a very good spot. So nerfing Reyna feels kind of strange to me because I don't think she's really that good anyway. But I understand why they're kind of doing it because it's kind of like the overarching sort of thing of the patch is to make the game more clear surrounding utility. And I think that this is just like a messy, like 3 bullets was kind of like overwhelming potentially in some situations. So I understand that. And obviously the audio visual to hit confirm makes a lot of sense to add regarding that thought process. Neon Relay Bolt wind up increased from 0.8 seconds to 1 second, and Phoenix Curveball wind up increased from 0.5 to 0.6 seconds. So yeah, I think it matters more for Neon here. I think Neon is very much an agent that wants to, like, she's one of those agents that used to rely a lot more on teammates, and I think that she is slowly getting reverted back to that state. Although obviously she won't fully revert back to that state, because I think Riot are kind of smart with some of their changes in that way, where they won't just take someone back to what they kind of just changed them from. And I think that this is kind of striking a nice middle ground eventually. This obviously is going to be one of those small changes that don't matter too much now, but they'll matter a lot more when she's weaker. But I do think now she's a lot more balanced, especially surrounding Pro, I think, where the utility can get quite overwhelming. Yeah, so I think generally this is just making her worse, especially in more constructed situations where you want to like change CC enemies. Phoenix Curveball windup has increased by 1 second, and I think that this matters a tiny amount where I think there's going to be fast players that are going to be able to react to this now a lot more consistently. And I also think as well that when you are predicting the fact that he's going to curveball, it makes it a lot easier for you to follow through on your reaction to your prediction, if that makes sense. I think Neon Phoenix is still going to be completely fine. I think it just makes their utility a tiny bit less oppressive, kind of in line with the rest of the patch. So now we've got clarity and consistency updates. So these are just things that are going to make the abilities a lot more seeable, I guess, or like reactable to, or just a lot less oppressive. in ways that they weren't meant to be oppressive in, I guess. The Breach Aftershock, visual effects around the wind-up and explosions resolve slightly more quickly and block less gameplay space. So basically, it's not intended to be a smoke, it's intended to be a molly that you can fire through a wall. So it's going to block less space, and I think that's great. That's what honestly, I think Breach really has... Like, Aftershock really does do that as well, because of how high you tend to put it up into, like, gameplay space as well. So it can actually physically block some sidelines sometimes. With the way it explodes and that kind of stuff. So it is quite good. It does have this. Sova Recon Bolt. So I'm pretty sure I already saw this, and it's basically just increasing the volume of the projectile loop when it's in the air. So it should be easier to track it in the air. Audio priority and attenuation basically just means that it's going to be easier to hear it when other things are going on. And audio tech updated to make it easier to understand the trajectory of the arrow, point of impact, and reveal radius. So basically, it's just going to make it easier to play against Sova Dart. Not very happy with the changes in the fact that I play Sova, but I think it makes sense that this happens, because I think it can be very annoying that you just kind of lose the recon bolt because of the things that are going on. I think it's quite bad, right, for that to happen. Owl drone. So this is one of the things that I don't like, that I have also seen. I'll talk about this one first. Audio hit confirm feedback has been added when shooting the drone successfully. This is fine, but when you're shooting it through a smoke, it might be a bit annoying for the Sova, because you didn't really see it. You're just kind of spamming where it is, and then you just so happen to get it. And that is, to be fair though, that is in line with other utility like it, right? When you shoot the dog, you actually get a specific hit marker. When you shoot Teo's drone, you get a specific thing as well with audio. So it does make sense. It's kind of falling in line with those. Enemies now hear a light audio warning loop when they are spotted by Sova's drone. I think this takes away skill from like a mind game that can be played in certain situations. It's not very often this happens, but it does take away that situation. It also calls into question like how oppressive this is going to be, or like how accurate this is going to be. Because if you just see like the heel of someone's foot, do they get the audio? If you see like the barrel of someone's gun, you probably don't get the audio, but do you? Like it's not super clear. So maybe maybe like if they see any part of you, but probably not gun barrel, to be fair, but like if they see any part of you, will they get like this small audio loop? And I think that can take away some skill in the fact that you should be putting yourself in like positions where the Sova drone doesn't see you like more correctly. And if you don't do that, you should be punished by thinking the Sova drone didn't see you. So I think, yeah, I'm on the fence about this one. I think that realistically, the Sova should have that skill expression and that like potential to also trick their opponent. Like if they didn't see them, if they did see them on the drone, but then the enemy is unaware of how the drone's vision sort of works, vision cone works, or like where you think the drone can see, just by looking at it. If they misassess that, and then the Sova tries to trick them, I think the Sova should be rewarded for that. I don't think that he should, that this should happen and kind of make that player aware that they were spotted. I think that takes away some skill expression, both from the player getting spotted, because now they don't really have to learn that skill, and also secondly, it takes away from the Sova because now he can't play the mind games with that person. So I do think that this is like a not very good change surrounding the owl drone realistically, but we'll see. I think it might not be that bad, but who knows. Love picking up visuals updated to show this is completely useless. Killjoy lockdown's detain pulse delay 0.5 seconds to 0.1. Hang on. Clarity and consistency updates. And it's a balance change. This is a balance change, surely, right? I mean, it doesn't come up very often, but there are times when you're like min-maxing the time that you're in the Killjoy Alt 4. So, and honestly, that happens a lot. That happens quite a lot, where you're just min-maxing the amount of time you can like squeeze out by like throwing the molly super late so it delays the plant. Or the flip side, you've like same reason really. Flip side, so you delay the defuse. Or hold an angle specific time to catch them off guard, that kind of stuff. And I think that this kind of just takes away some of the skill surrounding that part of the game, because you're just going to get instant detain basically. Because that 0.5 seconds to get out, you didn't really have to be right up against the edge of the circle to get out at that point. You could be just a tiny bit like in the circle and then get out in that 0.5 seconds. But now 0.15 seconds is so little time. You basically already have to be out of it. You have to be like half out of it basically, so it doesn't hit you. So that's pretty bad in my opinion actually. But I understand the reason why is because the lockdown has got weaker over time due to the amount of utility that has gone into the game. And people are just generally smarter with the lockdown, so I understand why this might have been a good change to make. I just don't know why it's not a balance change and why it's a clarity and consistency change. Lockdown visual changes have been updated to match this new behavior. Okay, so that's the clarity change, but this is not a clarity change. Okay. Cypher Spycam. Spycam's dot visual has been updated so it's easy to understand with the dot's directionality. That's actually pretty good because when it hits a teammate, you don't actually see anything. So you'll just see that they got hit by a Spycam. You won't actually see where the dot came from or anything sometimes. So it is quite nice that this does exist. It just, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Just so then you don't need to like get the comms from your teammate of where they saw the cam to then go and shoot the cam, because you can kind of predict the height and like the distance based on like where the visuals were. So that's quite nice. I did see about this change as well. Omen, given no other dome controllers reveal their own location on smoking, we've removed this opponent counterplay specific to Omen. So now enemies won't hear him when he places his smokes in from dark cover, like his dark cover. Dark cover no longer plays audio in third person within 12.5 meters for opponents. So this is pretty good because it means that now Omen will have a bit more security when he plays close range, in that he can still smoke for his teammates and he can still smoke for himself without giving away his position sometimes. And as someone that plays Omen, I welcome this change. Honestly, it wasn't really that massive in solo queue because a lot of people just didn't recognize the audio anyway. But yeah, I think that this is a nice change, especially for the players that do recognize the audio. And therefore now it won't matter if they recognize that audio or not because it didn't exist. Sky Smoke will now cast the audio within 12.5 meters for allies as well. Sure, I guess that's fine. New map Corrode. I've already talked about Corrode in my previous video, and no doubt I'll talk about it in the future. I think it is a pretty problematic map. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I don't like the map in the way that it's going to probably be played, because I think it's going to be very unhealthy for the game overall. It's going to seem very much like Old Ascent, and like it's going to be like Old Ascent, but it looks like Sunset is basically what it's going to be like. So it's going to be a lot of spamming, and a lot of the map control elements are going to be Sunset. So it seems very bad, shall we say. It seems pretty bad, but we'll just see how it goes. It might play better than it looks for now. But I do think that A site is going to be very problematic, especially because as well, you can place the bomb on any outer wall and the diffuse like visual effect will come out of the wall on the other side. So you don't even need to have lineups to wall bang the plant because you can just see the diffuse line. So that needs to be fixed. For sure, because if it doesn't get fixed, then it's literally like the freest plant of your life. It's the freest post plant of your life if you have an Odin on A site. Corrode on the queue, that's cool. Escalation's back, that's cool. Icebox back in those modes, cool for them. Pearl is out as well, which is kind of annoying. I actually really like Pearl. I'm probably in the minority of people that like Pearl, but yeah. And Bind's back, so good luck to my teammates because I'll be playing Yoru. Ranked Buddy has arrived. Corrode launch event. This is pretty cool because now I imagine we're going to see a lot more. I think this is great because it means that we're going to see Corrode in a ranked environment instantly. And also I think we won't see it dodge that much. And we might do if it's a really horrendous map to play, which it might be, I'll be honest. But yeah, we probably won't see it dodge that much simply because of this specific thing. I also think this is pretty big too because sometimes when you're in Immortal, it feels like you're playing two sets of placements. It feels like you're playing the placements initially to get into Ascendant 1, and then you're playing the placements afterwards to get back into Immortal, like going from Ascendant 1 to Immortal. So it does feel nice that you only have like 50 RR to go through to get back into Immortal, so that's nice. Bug fixes, I don't think there's anything important, and Premiere, I don't really cover any Premiere changes unless they're very, very big. So yeah, that's it for the patch. I think overall it's a pretty good patch. Very concerned about Corrode, but I think I'm not alone in that concern. So I would love to know what you guys think about this patch and Corrode, and I'll see you in my next one.